25 years of fearless journalism. Good evening and welcome to the half-hour edition of News Night. In the next 30 minutes, Vice President Bawumia launches fresh attack on former President John Mahama, questioning his ability to deliver on promises made so far in his bid for a second term.
We are hearing a lot of promise from the former president. You really, after some time, wonder whether he has been in office before. John Mahama's record of incompetence has already spoken very loud.
We'll be hearing from the NDC flag bearer John Mahama, who is resolved to ignore attacks on his pursuing and running mate as he courts support of clergy to save Ghana from sinking.
And life have already started, but I can assure you and all Ghanaians that Nana Jane and myself will never engage in insults and name-calling of our opponents in response.
Meanwhile, Christian leaders are tonight cautioning political parties against insult and mudslinging during the campaigns.
Don't attack President Mahama. Don't attack our professor. The propaganda way of insulting and attacking is backwards, and we must grow beyond that. And I can count on you that President Mahama will not do that.
And in business, fraud cases in the financial sector go up marginally to reach 2,295 cases, with majority of these cases actually carried out by staff of these financial institutions.
And minority in parliament accuses Cocoa Board of acting illegally in breach of revenue laws by deciding to invest export duty on cocoa on cocoa roads.
It is the duty of the Ghana Revenue Authority to impose export duty on sale of cocoa outside. It is not the duty of Cocoa Board to do so.
That and more coming up, plus our build-up to the presidential debate happening tomorrow. We have details of that. Please send us your messages via WhatsApp is 0244340437. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Mensah.
And this is your election headquarters. Tonight, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has launched fresh attacks on former President John Mahama, questioning his ability to deliver on promises he's made so far. The NDC flag bearer, who is vigorously campaigning for a second term bid, has promised to create over 1 million jobs, pay all customers of defunct microfinance institutions, improve the free senior high school program, and pay monthly allowances to assembly members.
But speaking at an event by the youth wing of the MPP to mark International Youth Day, Dr. Bawumia said the record of the former president makes him unworthy of trust.
We are in an election year, and we are hearing a lot of promises from the former president. A lot of promises. You really, after some time, you even wonder whether he has been in office before. I mean, you think that is new. This is a new person. But former President Mahama is not a new quantity. He is a known quantity who has been in office for 8 years as Vice President and President. What the youth of this country should ask is, what did John Mahama do for the youth in 8 years of government? Did he create jobs? Did his government maintain teacher training allowance? Did his government maintain nursing training allowance? Did his government maintain the Arabic teachers allowance? Did his government abolish utility bills for tertiary? Did his government implement one district, one factory? Did his government revive Anglo-Gold Ashanti? Did his government start the process of adding value to our bauxite? Did he start the process of adding value to our iron and steel? Did he establish the Bozongo Development Fund? Did his government have a program for agriculture apart from Emefa? Did his government issue national ID cards? Did he provide digital addresses? Did he implement mobile money interoperability? Did he address graduate unemployment? Did he provide apprenticeship? Did he build sports stadium for the youth? Did his government reduce electricity prices? Did his government provide free water? Did his government provide, is there anything of providing free Wi-Fi? across state senior high school? Did his government do anything about stopping the collapse of financial institutions? Did his government take the consequence of collapse financial institutions under the Did his government pay teacher arrears? Did he pay NHIS arrears? Did his government absorb the fees for BEC and WASC examinations? Could you apply for passport online? Could you renew your NHIS membership online? Could you transfer mobile money across telephone networks? Could you apply for scholarships online? Did he provide free TVs? Did he provide free education? Ladies and gentlemen, promises are one thing, but deeds and actions are another. Actions speak louder than words. And John Mahama's record of incompetence has already spoken very loudly.
Meanwhile, Dr. Baumia says the next NPP government under Akufo-Addo will introduce transformational policies and programs that will focus on the youth.
President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has demonstrated an understanding of the issues faced by the youth and has done something about it. Inshallah, his second term in office will be transformational for this country, with the youth at the center of that transformation. We are building a new country, a new Ghana, and we have to continue on the path we have embarked. We cannot go back. So more for Nana to do more for you. The battle is still the Lord. Thank you for your attention.
Well, of course, today we are also hearing from former President John Mahama, the NDC flag bearer. He's been meeting the clergy, asking them to assist the NDC save the country from sinking under the current administration. In fact, he's been responding to the attacks on him. He says he will run a clean campaign in spite of the attacks that he's getting, such as you've heard already from Dr. Baumia.
My running mate, Professor Nana Jeno-Opoku-Agyeman, whom I'm presenting to you today, has been encouraged a few days ago by the Osumanche to be strong and courageous in the face of what he feared would be a barrage of insults and attacks on her person, just because she has decided to serve her country at the highest level, to help shape its destiny and ensure shared prosperity for all. Indeed, these unprovoked attacks and insults and lies have already started, but I can assure you and all Ghanaians that Nana Jane and myself will never engage in insults and name-calling of our opponents in response. Our children are watching, listening, and copying what we do, and it's important that we continue to serve as good role models to them.
That's John Dramani Mahama. Well, after meeting the clergy events, he moved to the National Chief Imam's house to also introduce Professor Nana Jeno-Opoku-Agyeman to him. My colleague Latif Idriso has just returned from that event. He's joined us in the studio. Tell us what we missed.
So, former president he went there purposely to introduce his running mate to the National Chief Imam. It was a bit of an event. The plan was to have only the National Chief Imam and his delegation meet the former president, but it turned out that the crowd that came there was so huge, they had to bring the event outside.
Were they invited?
Yes, the party people were there with their flags and all of that. Now, one thing that came up, the former president talked about the fact that this current administration has borrowed so much, but they have very little to show for what they've borrowed. 3 times what he borrowed when he was president.
I've come out with 2 key promises, and one I call the big push. The big push is going to finance
infrastructure for development and economic prosperity with a $10 billion injection. And we're going to structure this big push, $10 billion big push, without adding it onto the public debt as the current government has done. In 3.5 years, this government has borrowed more than 140 billion Ghana cedis. All the work that I did, the hospitals, the roads, the interchanges, the electricity, the water, in the 4 years that I served as president, we borrowed 54 billion Ghana cedis. In 3.5 years, this government has borrowed more than 140 billion cedis. It would not have been a problem if we could see what they've done with the money. There is nothing to show for it. No roads, no hospital, no electricity, no water. Can you imagine what I could have done with 140 billion Ghana cedis? We need to rescue this nation from a government that reserves the opportunities of this nation for only a few family and friends. We need a government that will open the opportunities of this nation for all Ghanaians. We need a government that will treat all Ghanaians as equal and will not say that they are real owners of this country. All of us are owners of Ghana.
What about Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman?
Yeah, so she's also been speaking at the event. Now, you know, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is admired by a section of the Ghanaian public because of his prowess in economics and the numbers and all of that. Today, the running mate of the NDC is saying that, yes, he can also speak on the economy, but it's not necessarily about the numbers, but the impact it has on the lives of the people.
This is our time. It means our time has come. It means we must work hard for our country. And in everything we do, we should remember our children. We should put them first. The beauty of the NDC is that it works in the interest of our vulnerable. And that is what we should continue to champion. And not for the sake of his own or for the sake of his running mate. The time is now to make a difference. The time is now to have a simple exercise called registration, where nobody dies. The time is now for us to know that we are one people. The time has not come for us to think that the sound of a person's name is a better determinant than even a birth certificate. Let us work for the unity of this country. We have too many problems to engage in these activities that are not helpful. Of course, education is important. He's told you our record, and we intend to improve it. We intend to prove our achievements in the other sectors too. But we know that when we talk about the economy, it is not so much about the figures, although they are very important. It is about the quality of human development. It's about investing in people. It's about investing in people who have confidence in themselves, who know that they can change their circumstances, who don't wait for others to tell them what they can do or what they cannot do. So that is what our focus will be.
That's Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman speaking at the National Chief Imam's House earlier. But we can go back to Reverend Dr. Paul Frimpong Manso, who is the General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God Church, and he's asking that we eschew politics of insults.
First and foremost, whenever you want to speak to the public, there are three things you must consider. First, you have to go and appeal to the intellect. You have to go with facts that can be proven and substantiated. Because you go there and you throw something, you can prove it and defend it. And when you have the facts, you go there also to appeal to the emotion, to gather people, to show empathy with you. They should not go out and insult one another. I believe that doesn't bring growth. That doesn't help. So don't attack President Mahama. Don't attack our professor. Don't attack President Akufo-Addo. Don't attack whoever it is the person. The propaganda way of insulting and attacking is backward, and we must grow beyond that. And I can count on you that President Mahama will not do that. And the others will learn.
This Thursday, the 13th of August, the Imani Center for Policy and Education and your election headquarters bring you the Minority Political Parties and Independent Candidates Election Debate live from the University of Professional Studies Accra, UPSA, from 8 p.m. 6 independent candidates will lock horns in a rigorous interrogation of their ideas. Marek Kopigan, Kofi Korante, S. Popori Ampopo, Carl Ebomorgan, Unipayade, Osumte, and Dr. Tom Asita will have their policy alternatives scrutinized, moderated by head of the Joy News Political Desk, Evans Mensah, and Joy News anchor, Emefa Apawu, the Minority Political Parties and Independent Candidates Election Debate, live from 8 p.m. on Thursday, 13th August, from the UPSA, only on Joy 99.7 FM, Love 99.5 FM, on the Joy News channel, our affiliates across the country, online, and across our social media platforms.
And of course, we are now 24 hours, just a little above that, to that much anticipated minority political parties and independent candidates debate. Tomorrow, of course, is going to be the turn of the independent candidates, and we are building up to it tonight. We can now introduce you to Marek Gan, who obviously has introduced and launched his manifesto already, and is on the bill tomorrow. He's been speaking on the Pulse on the Joy News channel, laying out his own plans.
The broad idea is to build a country that works for every Ghanaian, not a few. That largely is the broader idea. Under that, we want to have a government that respects values, that is very big on ensuring that the systems do work, in other words, the institutions and all that do work, but one which also is bound on accountability and some level of creativity. We've been playing around the same sort of governance system for so long. Whether it's delivering the quality we want, I think we're all sure now that it isn't. And so ours is to build a government that ensures that every Ghanaian gets involved, every Ghanaian benefits from the state in terms of leadership, but also that, you know, we build a country that we can be sure that will take us into the future.
I mean, the key question tomorrow we'll interrogate is how exactly does he intend to do all this? And you can expect the questions to be absolutely rigorous. Samuel Oforiampofo is another of the 6 independent candidates. He's also been sharing with us, laying out in sketches what he intends to do. Of course, tomorrow we'll get to know more, but listen to him.
I want to be president because I sincerely, deep down in my heart, believe that I have the revolutionary capacity and endowment to move Ghana away from economic slavery. What do you call economic slavery? The country has, since 1992, in the advent of the 1992 Constitution, and the NDC and MPP, always under the crutches of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. And this I look at as not too good for this country. What's your key policy alternative that you have? I am centralizing my campaign on the economy, jobs, and corruption. I believe that government must take the initiative. The NPP, one district, one factory, a snail pace policy. It's not working. I have a strong feel that government must look for money, and I believe locally, and from east, set up about 10 industries.
Okay, and he's sounding like something I heard before in 2016, that Ghana has money, we don't have to borrow too much from outside. Well, we've got that before. Tomorrow we'll get to see exactly if he's not borrowing externally and he's borrowing locally, how does he plan to do a lot of the things that
the indigents have the money to make it available to government to implement these policies.
Okay, well, it will be put to the test tomorrow evening.
Sikanoa.
Well, don't forget, it's 8 p.m. tomorrow morning to 10, and we are live from the UPSA. We're going to be live here on the Joy News channel, the Joy News channel on TV, Joy 99.7 FM, Love FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on all our social media platforms as well.
And talking about political programming at the election headquarters, a number of them have already taken off. We had the maiden editions of the minority and majority caucus took off this week. We've had the majority being on with the General Secretary of the governing NPP revealing that it had had to deploy men to border towns to identify foreigners. And of course, the minority caucus also have been raising issues about the PDS, and they've been alleging that government is in the process of handing over ECG assets to the private sector. On Friday, Winston Amwa will host the joint caucus, and it's at 6 to 7 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Time now for business. George Weafe.
Well, Emefa, fraud cases in the financial sector has hit 2,295. And Emefa, the news is that majority of these fraud were actually carried out by staff of those financial institutions and not an outsider. I'll be getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you? Now, fraud cases in the financial sector went up marginally, and in December 2019, according to the latest Bank of Ghana report, it reached 2,295 at the end of last year. There's more in this Business Desk report.
According to the Bank of Ghana, the 2019 numbers represent over 5% jump in terms of the total fraud cases reported in 2018. The report shows that the suppression of cash and issues with deposits accounted for the largest portion of fraud cases reported to the Bank of Ghana. These fraud cases can be valued at 111 million cedis. However, 33.44 million cedis can be attributed to real losses to the respective institutions, while 82 million Ghana cedis was unsuccessful, or the said institutions managed to prevent them. The report also showed that suppression of cash had almost about 1,800 cases, representing 43% jump over that of 2018. Forgery and manipulation also went up by 15% with 135 cases. However, cybercrime and ATM cases went down marginally. About 20 million cedis was lost to email fraud. But the Bank of Ghana in the report maintains that the numbers could have been higher if it wasn't for some measures internally instituted by these banks as well as the regulator. In terms of the breakdown of institutions, rural and community banks reported 55% of the total cases, and commercial banks and savings and loans companies reported 23% and 22% of the cases respectively. In total, 83 institutions reported cases in 2019 as compared to 72 cases in 2018. It is important to note that about 94% of the fraud cases reported as suppression of cash and deposits were perpetrated by staff of the said financial institutions. But the Bank of Ghana maintains that the alarming rate of involvement of bank staff in the perpetration of fraud in the banking sector calls for significant reforms in the engagement, remuneration, and disengagement of processes of employees and contractual staff of financial institutions.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, Cocoa Board can now go ahead and begin the process to raise some $1.3 billion cocoa purchases for the next crop season. This was after it secured Parliament's approval to go ahead with the fundraising exercise before October this year. Cocoa Board can now has the legal backing to go ahead with the roadshow and also close the deal with the required banks. Meanwhile, the former Deputy Minister of Agric, William Kurti, has been justifying the amount being raised by Cocoa Board and the production target.
Right now, Cocoa Board is spending a lot of money on resolving all the negative issues on the cocoa plants. We are doing a number of measures, including hand pollination, pruning, and so on. And so, if you don't do this, a time will come that the plant itself will not be there at all. It's because of all these, cost is going high, and therefore production will also come down. But at the point when you have resolved all these issues, of course, then the cocoa trees will become young and the yields will go up. As it is now, you have a higher percentage of the plants being modified.
Cocoa Board is looking at a production target of 900,000 metric tons, and the funds will be raised in two tranches. That is, first, $650 million before October this year, and the remaining, that is before February next year. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. And it looks like the fraud cases will just not go away.
Let's look at that of the telcos as well. Well, thank you very much, George. We'll take off from where you ended on the Cocoa Board note, where the minority in Parliament is accusing Cocoa Board of acting illegally in breach of revenue laws by deciding to invest export duty on cocoa roads. Now, Parliament today approved Cocoa Board's $1.3 billion syndicated loan, which the minority is raising objections on. We can listen to Ben Podo, who is a minority MP on Parliament's Finance Committee.
It is the duty of the Ghana Revenue Authority to impose export duty on sale of cocoa outside. It is not the duty of Cocoa Board to do so. So we do not know why all of a sudden Cocoa Board is accounting for export duty, which is as applied towards build dam construction and then construction of cocoa roads. So that's why we raised the issue this morning, to find the legal basis for Cocoa Board determining its own export duty payable to government.
Well, Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Dr. Marcus Ibebwa, says Cocoa Board is only being transparent.
The Minister of Finance said export duty to zero. Cocoa Board is being transparent by saying that the export duty that we would have paid, which has been raised by the Minister of Finance, are zero in the budget. We are going to reuse the cocoa rates and the build dam commitment. That's what is here. So this is transparent. The two-party government is transparent, accountable, and has men of integrity. That's what we are doing here.
Well, of course, that's something that is causing a lot of debate in Parliament. We'll keep an eye on that as it develops. You're also hearing from the Agric Minister that in our subsequent bulletins. And the Champions League team is up next. And as we leave you in your hands, I want to leave you in the hands also of Irene. Do you remember Irene?
Irene and Jane.
Yeah, but of course, Jane became Ifya.
Yes.
Irene went solo. Irene Logan, I'm talking about, won the hearts of many, and all of a sudden she just went off the music scene. Irene is on Spotlight today because we are celebrating her smooth voice, which has won the hearts of many.
Irene Logan is a Ghanaian-based Liberian singer and songwriter who gained her popularity after she emerged winner of Stars of the Future in 2006. Irene and Ifya soon formed a bond that birthed one of Ghana's most successful girl groups, Irene and Jane. Irene and Jane were revolutionized the music industry with songs like Baby and Heated Up. Kill me with your many styles. Irene started her career in 2009 with hit tracks such as Runaway, You say, Can we run away? Can we run away? Nami Dede and Kaliba. I don't wanna go, my baby, for my mind for you, for my heart. Singer who churns soul-touching music has been away from the screens for some time now and yet to return. This has got a lot of people asking if she will indeed make a return after she revealed on Stacey Amwatin's Restoration show that she feels dirty when she sings secular music and that she had a mind battle on what to do next, hence her break.
When I won Stars of the Future, I had a serious battle, mind battle, mental, spiritual, emotional. Should I sing what I do, what I'm used to, gospel or secular? Now, it was so difficult for me to make that decision that I had sleepless nights. But also I wanted to, because I had been in the church for so long, I wanted a break.
Yeah, interesting, right? But hey, being one of the best vocalists in Ghana, Irene has won a number of awards which include the Best Female Vocalist in 2007 and 2016 in the Ghana Music Awards, and was also nominated for awards like the Cora Awards and Channel O Music Video Awards in 2008. Irene has a soothing voice, and we just can't wait for her to come back to entertain us, no matter the genre.
Oh no, where we can go much further. I wanna go.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like